kids have ever said. After her grandfather passed away, the family gathered at his home for a memorial. The 4-year-old grandson suddenly looked up and said, "Why is Grandpa sitting on the roof?" No one else saw anything, but he insisted. "He's waving and telling me it's a fun place up there." On Halloween night, a father asked his 3-year-old daughter about her costume. She was dressed as something he didn't recognize. When he asked who she was, she said, "I'm the girl who hides under your bed." While driving with her 5-year-old son, he unexpectedly murmured, "We should take a different route, Mom." Curious, she inquired why. He responded with an ominous, "Something bad is about to happen." Slightly unnerved and choosing to humor him, she diverted her course. Later, she learned of a devastating multi-car pileup on their original path precisely at the time they would have been there. As the family was moving into an old house, the 4-year-old son pointed at the wallpaper in his new room and said, "The boy in the walls is scared. He said they never found him." Later, while renovating, the family discovered a skeleton of a young boy in the walls of his bedroom. In a serene neighborhood, every night a woman's 3-year-old son would wave out the window before going to bed. When she asked who he was waving to, he mentioned, "The floating man with the lantern." Even more terrifying, the local legends say that the man with the lantern isn't really a man at all, but a ghostly father desperately searching every night for his lost child. A family was camping in the woods. As they sat around the fire, the 6-year-old daughter stared into the forest and whispered, "She's calling me." Her parents asked who she meant. The daughter replied, "The woman in white. She lost her children and says she needs me to help her find them." A family was watching old home videos. The 4-year-old stared intently at a clip of his great-grandfather, who had died before he was born. "Why is he on the TV?" the boy asked. "I just played with him in my room." A family adopted a stray dog. Their 5-year-old daughter often whispered to the dog. When asked what she was saying, she replied, "He's telling me about the time he watched over me, before he died, and before I came to you." As a mother was tucking her 5-year-old daughter into bed, the girl said, "I love this life, Mommy. The last one ended too soon." The mother, puzzled, asked what she meant. The girl responded, "The fire was so warm, but then it was very dark." A woman's 3-year-old nephew looked at her and said, "Last time I was a grown-up and you were my little boy." When she asked him what he meant, he said, "Remember, the big wave took us." During a stormy night, a boy told his mother, "The man in the corner doesn't like thunder." When the mother asked which man, the boy pointed to an empty corner and said, "The one who's crying."
Part 51. My 4-year-old niece once asked me, "Do you know why babies can't talk?" I answered, "Because they haven't learned yet." She said, "No, because they still know too much." Like, what? One night, I heard my little sister crying in her sleep. She was 5 at the time. When I walked in and sat on her bed, she immediately stopped crying, sat in her bed, opened her eyes, and screamed, then fell back on her bed and slept. She remembers nothing. I was on a bus recently and we stopped outside a walking clinic. A little girl in the seat in front of me turned to her dad and said, "Death is the poor man's doctor." And that was that.
When I told my 3-year-old I was pregnant and had a baby in my belly, she kept saying no, 2 babies. A couple weeks later, it was confirmed I was having twins. Twins were thought to be boy and girl, but 3-year-old kept telling me they were sisters. So jokingly, we asked her when they would be born. She pointed to November 28th on the calendar. Sure enough, they were born on November 28th, 2012. 5-year-old, can I marry you? Me. No, sorry, sweetie, I have a boyfriend. 5-year-old, what if he died? My daughter, from a severe brain injury when she was 11 weeks old, was in a coma for 3 days. For years afterwards, when it rained, she would comment, "Smells like God."
3-year-old, when's the baby going to come out of your tummy? I didn't even know that I was pregnant yet. Damn. One night, I let my 3-year-old sleep with me because my husband was gone. It was dead quiet in the house and she whispers, "I've got you where I want you, and now I'm gonna eat you." I be sending her ass right back to her room. What the hell? When my son was 3, he came and climbed into bed with us crying. I asked him what's wrong. He said that the big fat man with a bloody hole in his head kept trying to open his window. I'm scared. My then 4-year-old daughter came up to me, put her hands on my belly and said, "Mommy, you have a baby in your belly." Come to find out 2 weeks later that I was 3 weeks pregnant. She also said it was a boy, even though she really wanted a baby sister, and she was right. She also did something similar to her 2 teachers at her daycare. They called her the baby whisperer. My best friend Lisa died when I was pregnant with my daughter. When my daughter was 3, I heard her laughing. I said, "What are you laughing at?" She said, "Auntie Lisa's making silly faces at me and playing with me." Aww, that one's really cute.
Things kids have ever said. A woman drove past a cemetery with her 3-year-old daughter in the back seat every day. The 3-year-old kept telling her mom that people in the cemetery were waving at her. This went on for a while until the woman stopped driving past the cemetery forever when the daughter said that a lady wanted her to come in. A family moved into a new furnished apartment with an unsettling painting in the bedroom that kind of looked like hair free-flowing in the air. The 2-year-old son was being settled in for his daily nap until suddenly he said he didn't want to sleep in that room. When mom asked why, he said, "This painting looks at me and tries to talk to me, and I don't like it." A 4-year-old girl spent every day with her great-grandmother, and every day she'd go home, she'd say, "God be with you." One time when she was leaving, she said, "Go with God." Her mother tried to correct her, but she said it again. That night, the great-grandmother passed away.